This is Senior Algebra Section 5.3, Scientific Notation. Today, we're going to look at scientific notation converting between numbers without exponents and in scientific notation as well. So, first thing, definition of scientific notation. It's a number that represented as a times 10 to the x power, where a is between 1 and 10. So a is a single digit integer. Notice a can be 1, but it cannot be 10. So it's a single digit number here. And n is an integer here. Could be negative, could be positive here. So write a number in scientific notation. We have these steps. We'll take a look at a couple different ones here just real quickly. So if I look at the number 380,000, if I want to write it in scientific notation, first thing I want to do is move the decimal point to the first non-zero digit here. So basically put it between the 3 and the 8. Okay, again, a has to be between 1 and 10, so the 3.8 would work there. How many places did I move it? I moved it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when I count my n, the number of places I moved it is 5. Not 6, but 5. So I moved it 5 places here. So my n is going to be 5. Now I have options here. Is the 5 going to be positive or negative here? So how do I tell? Well, what I look at is this. If I start with 3.8 times 10 to the 5th. 3.8 is smaller than 380,000. So in order to make it bigger, to go from a small number to a big number, 10 to the 5th, the 5 is positive here, 10 to the 5th means 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. That's going to make the number larger here. In this one, I have 0.00037. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put it between the 3 and the 7. And how many places did I move it? I moved it 4 places. Now in this case, I have 3.7, a big number, and I want to make it smaller. So I make the exponent negative. By making the exponent negative, okay, 10 to the negative 4 merely means times 1 over 10 to the 4th. Makes the number smaller here. So again, if you want to go from a big number, 3.7, to a small, you make the exponent negative. So in example 1, I'm going to start with 145. Decimal point is there, so I'm going to move it over 2 places. So it's 1.45 times 10 to the 2nd. So in C, I move it over 4, so it's 4.0 times 10 to the, how many places did I move it? 4. It's going to be negative because I'm moving from 4 to a smaller number. In D, I'm going to put it between the 1 and the 2, 1.25. It's going to be 10 to the negative 2. The negative makes it smaller, so 1.25, making it smaller. So in this one now we're going to be given the numbers in scientific notation, and we want to convert them here. So I have 1.23. I'm going to move it over 4 places. So the answer is 12,300. Move the decimal point over 4 places. With a negative, I'd do the same thing. Move it over 2 places, doesn't matter. Okay, it's going to be 850. Again, the 2 makes the number bigger. In C, now in this one, it's 10 to the negative 2. That's going to make the number smaller. So I'm going to move the decimal point over to the left. 1 place, 2 place. So it's going to be 0.067. Again, the negative exponent makes the number smaller. And then in D, I'm going to do the same thing. It's a negative 3, so I'm going to move it over, or a negative 1, so I'm going to move over 1 place. So it's just going to be 0.9. And then in E, now E is 10 to the 0. Well, remember, what is anything to the 0 power? That's just 1. So 3.94 times 1, it's just 3.94. It doesn't move anywhere. The last ones here are the ones that can be a little bit trickier here. Okay, some simplifying where we have to multiply and divide here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply my numbers together, the 1.2 and the 3.4. So I can kind of group these together here. 1.2 times 3.4, again, you could use your calculator for this, but that gives you 4.08. Now I look at my exponents. 10 to what power, 10 to what power, I can add those together, so that's going to be 10 to the 8th. In B, I'm going to take 9.4 divided by 2, that's 4.7, and now when it's a quotient, I subtract these. So 6 minus 3 is 3 there. The last two in C and D here. So in C, when I multiply these together, I get 25.16 times 10. I'm going to do the same thing, add them together to the negative 4. Problem is this, 25.16 is not in scientific notation, so I'm going to change it. 2.516 times 10 to the first. And then I also have the 10 to the negative 4, so I'm going to have to now combine these together. So I'm going to get 2.516, 10 to the first, 10 to the negative 4. When I add those together, I get 10 to the negative 3. So you have to write your new number in scientific notation. In D, when I do 3.7, or 3.5 divided by 7, I get 0.5. When I subtract, I get 10 to the negative 4. But again, now I have to write 0.5 in scientific notation. So I'm going to have to move it over 1 place. So that's 5 to the times 10 to the negative 1. Now, negative 1 and negative 4 gives me negative 5.